All right, I would like to call to order the October 15th Milford City Council meeting. Will you please, well, Jackie, please call the order, or, I'm sorry. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. During the moment of silence, please think about those who have battled breast cancer and those who are still fighting. Thank you. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Now, Jackie, please call the roll.
Yes,
Sorry
ma'am.
about that.
That's okay. Mayor Evans,
Here.
Vice Mayor Parrish.
Here.
Mr. Velardo.
Here.
Mr. Price.
Here.
Mr. Thompson.
Here.
Ms. Cooper. Ms. Chamberlain.
Here. Do I have a motion to excuse Ms. Cooper?
So moved. Second.
Ms. Evans.
Yes.
Mr. Parrish.
Yes.
Mr. Velardo.
Yes.
Mr. Price.
Yes.
Mr. Thompson.
Yes.
Ms. Chamberlain.
Yes. That takes us to proceedings. Do I have a motion to approve the council meeting proceedings from the October 1st meeting?
So moved. Second.
Ms. Chamberlain.
Yes.
Mr. Thompson.
Yes.
Ms. Evans.
Yes.
Mr. Parrish.
Yes.
Mr. Price.
Yes.
Mr. Velardo.
Yes.
That takes us to financial statements. Do I have a motion to receive the September 2024 finance report?
So moved. Second.
Ms. Evans.
Yes.
Mr. Parrish.
Yes.
Mr. Velardo.
Yes.
Ms. Chamberlain.
Yes.
Mr. Price.
Yes.
Mr. Thompson.
Yes.
Ms. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session pursuant to Section 3.051 of the Milford City Charter for the sole purpose to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official, or the investigation of charges or complaints against a public employee, official, licensee, or regulated individual, unless that public employee, official, licensee, or regulated individual requests a public hearing.
Second?
Ms. Evans.
Yes.
Ms. Chamberlain.
Yes.
Mr. Parrish.
Yes.
Mr. Thompson.
Yes.
Mr. Velardo.
No.
Mr. Price.
Yes.
All right, so we will be returning shortly to finish the meeting. To regular session?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Evans.
Yes.
Mr. Parrish.
Yes.
Mr. Price.
Yes.
Mr. Thompson.
Yes.
Ms. Chamberlain.
Yes.
Ms. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to nominate Teresa Conover to the Planning Commission.
Second? Second.
Ms. Evans.
Yes.
Mr. Parrish.
Yes.
Mr. Velardo.
Yes.
Mr. Price.
Yes.
Mr. Thompson.
Yes.
Ms. Chamberlain.
Yes. And,
All right, I'd also like to make a motion to nominate James Brockman and Nicholas Burr to the Board of Zoning Appeals.
second?
Ms. Evans.
Yes.
Ms. Chamberlain.
Yes.
Mr. Parrish.
Yes.
Mr. Velardo.
Yes.
Mr. Price.
Yes.
Mr. Thompson.
Yes.
All right, if those individuals are here, will you please come up to get sworn in? I also want to say thank you to all the applicants we had. We appreciate you submitting an interest, and please keep your ears and eyes open for future seats on different committees.
Discharge the duties of planning commission member to the best of my abilities without being out of order.
Gotta give a speech.
support the Constitution of the United States of America.
To support the Constitution of the United States of America.
There you go, thank you. The Constitution of the State of Ohio.
The Constitution of the State of Ohio.
And the Charter of the City of Milford.
And the Charter of the City of Milford.
And to faithfully, honestly, and impartially discharge the duties of BZA member
Discharge the duties of BZA member
to the best of my abilities.
to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Again, thank you all for being willing to serve the city.
Yes, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. That takes us to public comments. Do you have anyone from the public who wishes to make a comment? Please remember to state your name and address for the record.
Mary Kipp, 415 Mill Street, and I, like you, hope this is the last time I come before you on this issue. I attended the September 12th Safety Services Committee meeting. It was evident from Mr. Velardo's opening comments that the decision on the River District Sound Ordinance had already been made. I still have questions that have not been answered. What are your reasons for not including a decimal level in this ordinance? Every community around Milford has an ordinance which either has a decimal level or a statement similar to Milford's section of the performance standards, which states, "No activity on private property shall emit noise or sound that creates a nuisance to surrounding properties," which applies to all of Milford. Why not the River District? In the Safety Committee meeting, Mr. Velarde said during planning, no restrictions were placed on the distillery. Why? The police department did a sound study one weekend, but we know other weekends the noise could be much louder. We have asked for a solution for a year. Maybe you wonder why no one else comes forward. That makes me think back to when a large number of South Milford residents attended numerous meetings asking for an ordinance to restrict the number of short-term rentals in Milford. That was passed in June of 2022. 2 years later, and it has never been enacted because a lawsuit sits somewhere waiting for a decision in court. Could that be one reason they feel it would just be a waste of time?
Thank you for your comment. Mr.
I'm happy to, you know.
Would you like to?
Yes, I'm happy. Done a lot of research in other communities, and I've seen sound ordinance fail miserably when they have decibels in place. I have seen that the fact that it's very subjective from a sound meter, and a sound meter at your property makes a qualified, trained person who has to have specific equipment, and then just like any other equipment has to be checked out on a regular basis. I personally feel that the time is the most appropriate use of a sound ordinance and to be able to enforce it. I said this on that day that you weren't going to like what I had to say, but I did it after I've done extensive research from other communities and seen the disconnect that law enforcement and others have to have trying to enforce a decibel level. We ran into this years ago before I was on council with the brewery, where they came into issues with sound, and that's when the time was adjusted. So you and I will probably never, ever agree on that, but that's my rationale to it.
Well, and again, the one point I've asked is, the brewery was told they could not play music outdoors. And why does that not apply to the distillery?
Again, that was done, I brought that up that day, had gone through planning. I wasn't on planning, it was accepted that way. Again, I don't have a better answer for you.
We will just, with a nuisance, and accept it.
Well, I believe, in Mayor, maybe you could chime in, we've met with them, they put some things, or working to put things in place, stopping earlier, and, you know, we
They
will
said my notes,
continue to
both
go
sites are
down
done
that
at
road.
9:30.
And again, maybe that's something that you would like to be involved, the next meeting that we have with that, you know, proprietor, and you could certainly share that with them. But again, I don't know why the planning commission did what they did, but we have to abide by whatever they did.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Hi, Nick Burr, 431 Garfield. Feel like I've been emailing you about playing sidewalk police, but I know we got a busy weekend in the city on Saturday. A lot of people park up and down Garfield, and there's currently no sidewalk access to get from Garfield to Main Street. The north side is Red Knot Development, the sidewalk's all chewed up. South side, there's currently a portalet parked on the sidewalk. I don't know if there's something we can do about that, just so the visitors to the city aren't walking down Garfield to try and get down to Main Street, so.
Okay. Mr. Jones, could you check in with Eddie on maybe on that? You know where he's talking about?
And the mayor may even have, I'm sorry, Jamie may have a comment or two
Okay.
regarding that.
Okay.
So,
We will definitely check into that before the weekend.
And Nick, is the problem with the Red Knot part just the mud and dirt on the sidewalk?
Or is it
I
just
mean, mud
sidewalk
and dirt,
cone?
it's like you think about like, I mean, I got young kids, so it's like, I can't walk a stroller down to Main Street right now.
There isn't a sidewalk. They've
Yeah.
Yeah,
torn
they've
up.
torn out the
The
sidewalk.
sidewalk
This
is
is a
literally
temporary,
gone.
they haven't removed
Temporary.
it, it's just unfortunately temporary. Is that my understanding?
It's gravel, there's no
Yeah,
sidewalk.
there's no
But
sidewalk.
there'll
They'll
have to be
put something
sidewalks.
in,
Yeah, they
Yeah.
will at the
Eventually.
end when
Yeah,
they're done, but I'm just, you're gonna have a lot of people in the city.
Correct.
And really what happens is you end up with a bunch of people walking down Garfield. It's just,
It could be a safety.
Well, I was just wondering, I mean, the people who are doing the construction, the Crothers, should they have this portalet on a public sidewalk? Shouldn't it be on their yard?
That's what I'm thinking. I wondered if is it a portalet for Art Affair or portalet for the construction?
it's their
portalet for the
construction.
Corrales.
It's for the construction site.
Yeah.
That needs to
Yeah, that definitely probably needs to be moved.
Yeah.
I asked about the mud because I talked to
Yeah.
Jay conversation, and I said, would you make sure that's clean? I didn't realize it was, I thought it was just mud from runoff.
We'll have the service department and check
Okay.
that out. So,
Thank you.
thank you. Anybody else in the public like to make a comment? All right, that takes us to standing committee reports, public services, Ms. Chamberlain.
The Public Service Committee met on October 9th, 2024. I called the meeting to order at 4:30. Present were myself, Lisa Evans, and Ralph Velardo. From staff, we had interim city manager John Jones, Service Department Supervisor Ed Hackmeister, Water Department Supervisor Joe Castile, and Executive Assistant Jackie Bain. We did not have any visitors at the meeting. The first item we did was approve the August 14, 2024 Public Service Committee minutes. Of Velardo made a motion to approve the minutes. Ms. Evans seconded the motion. We all said yes. We discussed the Wallace Avenue Water Tower funding. Water Department Supervisor Joe Castile reported that the bids on the water tower project came in substantially higher than expected. The original estimate several years ago when we applied for the grant was approximately $3 million. We did receive grant funding, but the lowest bid that was submitted at the bid opening was $4.4 million. Assuming that the lowest bidder gets the contract, we would have to make up the difference of $1.4 million through additional funding. We are here asking for, they are here asking for approval to seek additional funding for the project.
There was a discussion of options that we have at this point. Essentially, there are no other options than to move forward with this million capacity water tower project. Interim City Manager John Jones stated that we continue to look into alternatives for this project. And if we cannot find any additional grants, we look into taking out a low-interest loan for the project. The committee discussed looking into a utility rate increase and reviewing some comparable rates of other jurisdictions. The committee agreed to recommend that administration seek alternative funding and to return to committee with the information to present for approval. We then went on to discuss the review of 4 quotes for asphalt patch repair on Glendale Road, State Route 126. Mr. Hackmeister reported that there is need of full depth repair that is located between 61 and 81 on Glendale Milford Road. He received 4 quotes: Naira Paving for $13,513.98, J.K. Muir for $16,460, Paving for $21,620, and Loveland Excavating and Paving for $24,840. Mr. Hackmeister recommended Naira Paving, who we have used in the past. The committee agreed to recommend that the law director draft an ordinance to enter into a contract amount of $13,513.98 for asphalt patch repair on Glendale Milford Road, State Route 126.
Second.
Ms. Evans?
Yes.
Ms. Chamberlain?
Yes.
Mr. Thompson?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Mr. Velardo?
Yes.
Mr. Parrish?
Yes.
So then we discussed purchase of the new columbarium for the Green Lawn Cemetery. Mr. Hackmeister stated that this is something we added into the budget last year. We currently sell each niche for $1,200 each. Mr. Hackmeister reviewed information regarding existing columbariums at Green Lawn Cemetery. Sorry about that. Oh my gosh. Georgetown Marble and Granite Company provided a quote for a 24 niche columbarium at the cost of $13,950. Quote includes installation and setup. Foundation will be the responsibility of Green Lawn Cemetery. The committee agreed to recommend that the law director draft an ordinance authorizing the interim city manager to enter into a contract with Georgetown Marble and Granite Company to purchase a columbarium for Green Lawn Cemetery in the amount of $13,950.
Second.
Mr. Thompson?
Yes.
Ms. Chamberlain?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Mr. Velardo?
Yes.
Mr. Parrish?
Yes.
Ms. Evans?
Yes.
We then discussed Milford Chambers and Walmart controller and conflict monitor replacement. Mr. Hackmeister discussed how this uninterruptible system works when electric power fails so that the traffic lights will continue to function. It is a backup battery system. 3 of the current backup systems were affected by the recent storms in the city and are unrepairable. The units are outdated and need to be replaced as soon as possible. The Chamber Drive unit, the Walmart and Chamber unit, that's $7,647.94. The US 50 Lila and Mohawk unit, $2,620.80. And the US 50 Lila and Cemetery unit, $2,620.80. Mr. Hackmeister recommends that the unit at US 50 and State Route 126 UPS installation at a cost of $9,628.80 and recommends that it have a battery backup installed sometime in the near future, since it currently does not have a backup system. The committee agreed to table the discussion since Mr. Hackmeister is going to research alternate ways of funding this project and return to the committee for further discussion. There being no further business, the meeting adjourned at 5 p.m. with a motion from Mr. Velardo, seconded by Ms. Evans, and we all said yes.
right, thank you very much. That takes us to.
I would just like to add, though, just to follow up on that, just for
Yes.
future conversations and budget, thanks to our wonderful interim city manager, he did a little research. One of the questions came up, how long do they last? 8 hours is typical. And I believe there may be some alternate funding available that we've discussed, so.
We also talked about looking into solar-powered ones.
Yeah, that's really not, I thought that would be, but evidently that's not.
They don't
Yeah.
do that.
My research, last couple of days has shown that the solar doesn't really, it cannot maintain and sustain it for a period of time, so
Really
it'd be
doesn't enhance
short-lived.
it, right, but yeah,
Right.
so.
So, and then, second part of that, we heard back from engineers today. They indicated that the funding that we were hoping we could look into actually can be applied for, but they said it would be 26 or 27 before that would be awarded.
Gotcha.
So
We can't wait though.
No
probably
storms,
neither
this
one of
storm's
those are
still
going to
Yeah.
work.
But the other thing, as we move forward, during budget or review, that there is money available to not only do what's in there, but also to go ahead and do the 126 and 50.
Right, yeah, we
too,
talked about
on
including
top
the
of it.
intersection.
So,
And probably a plan going forward and for replacement, like,
yeah, I think, 5 years? I think we probably just need to put them on a cycle. And, you know, it's just something we do.
all right, that takes us to the interim city manager report. Mr. Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. So our interview panel team is in place for the second round interviews. We still have applications trickling in. We're nearing 60 now. And we're looking forward to the second round and then getting that process continuing to move forward for this council and the city. Working with our finance department as our other administrators to get the budget wrapped up for the year. Appreciate the efforts by everybody on that. Want to thank one of our councilmen, Ralph, come in yesterday, took me to lunch and then toured me the city. I actually enjoyed that. I've had a tour before, but it was a little different from a councilman's perspective as opposed to a police chief's perspective. So that was enjoyable.
I showed him the good parts.
There's a lot of hidden gems here. And our staff is trickling our way into working on and updating FMLA policy. More to come on that in the future. Just some reminders that the 18th Annual Art Affair, Saturday, October 19th, 11 to 5, downtown Milford. The inaugural Old Milford Porch Fest, 1 to 6 on Saturday. That'll be the October 19th. Encouraged to stroll around Milford while enjoying over 30 live music bands throughout the community, and people be on porches and so forth doing that. BCA meeting coming up 6 p.m. on October 24th. Trick or treat 6 to 8 p.m. Thursday, October 31st. And just as a reminder, a change from Tuesday to Thursday, our next council meeting will be November 7th at 7 p.m. That'll be Thursday, not Tuesday.
All right,
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That takes us to Chief Mills and the police report.
Thank you, Mayor, and good evening, Council. You should have my September monthly report in front of you, but if I could touch on a couple of highlights. You may have noticed that in training, we had 2 days of firearms training put on by our training team, and Officer Liming conducted 30 minutes of alert suicide prevention as part of our officer wellness training with all of our sworn members. A couple of notable occurrences. You'll see in September, we still had 2 vehicles stolen from a dealership and recovered one from a neighboring jurisdiction. But one particular notable occurrence I kind of wanted to talk about a little bit. If you notice, Squad 2 coordinated with Claremont Senior Services, Adult Protective Services, on a fraud report where a resident was scammed out of $205,000 on a scam known as the Senior Romance Scam. Now, you've heard me talk in the past about the grandparents scam and the energy provider scams and some of the other scams, but that's one that I haven't really talked a lot about, and I think it's worth, if you'll just give me a few minutes to read part of an article I found on the AARP's website that explains that scam and some warning signs and some ways to protect yourself. So Adults of all ages are going online in hopes of finding love and companionship. But seeking romantic bliss online can have a major downside. Cyberspace is full of scammers eager to take advantage of lonely hearts, and their ranks are growing. The Federal Trade Commission received some 56,000 complaints about romance scams in 2021. So this article is a little dated. It's probably much more now. But that number was more than triple the number in 2017, and the reported monetary losses from such cons jumped sixfold over the same period to $547 million. The con typically works something like this. You post a dating profile and up pops a promising match. Good-looking, smart, funny, and personable. Supposed suitors might also reach out on social media. More than a third of the people who lost money on a romantic scam reported that it started on Facebook or Instagram, according to the Federal Trade Commission. This potential mate claims to live in another part of the country or to be abroad for business or on a military deployment. But he or she seems smitten and eager to get to know you better and suggest you move your relationship to a private channel like email or a chat app. Over the weeks or months, you'll feel yourself growing closer. You may make plans to meet in person, but for your new love, something always comes up. Then you get the urgent request. There's an emergency, perhaps a medical problem or a business crisis, and your online companion needs you to send money fast, usually via gift cards, prepaid debit cards, cryptocurrency, or a bank or wire transfer. They'll promise to pay it back, but that will never happen. Instead, they will keep asking for more money until you realize it's a scam and cut them off. The older the target, the heavier the financial toll. The median individual loss from a romance scam for people 70 and over was $9,000 in 2021. So here are some warning signs. Your new romantic interest sends you a picture that looks more like a model from a fashion magazine than an ordinary snapshot. The person quickly wants to leave the dating website and communicate with you through email or instant messaging. They lavish you with attention. Swindlers often inundate prospective marks with text, emails, and phone calls to draw them in. They repeatedly promise to meet in person, but always come up with an excuse to cancel. They make a sudden request for money to deal with an emergency or make a surefire investment. So here are a few ways to protect yourself from this scam. First, take it slowly. Ask your potential partner a lot of questions and watch out for inconsistencies that might reveal an imposter. Talk to family and friends about the new love interest and pay attention if they have concerns. Check an online suitor's profile photo using Google image search. If the same picture shows up elsewhere with a different name attached to it, that's a sign the scammer may have stolen it. I like this one. Be wary of flirtatious and overly complimentary emails. Paste the text into a search engine and see whether the same words show up on websites devoted to exposing romance scams. Cut off contact immediately if you begin to suspect that the individual may be a swindler. Notify the dating site or maker of the dating app on which you met the scammer. A couple of be waries. Be wary even if you're the one who made the first contact. Scammers flood dating websites with fake profiles and wait for victims to come to them. Limit the amount of personal information you provide in a dating profile or to someone you've chatted with online. Scammers can exploit details like your last name or where you work to manipulate you or even commit identity theft. Never share intimate photos with an online acquaintance. They could end up being used for sextortion. And lastly, do not send cash, cryptocurrency, or gift cards, or put money on a reloadable debit card for someone you've only interacted with online. You'll never get it back. But with that being said, there is a somewhat happy ending to our resident's case. Detective Brown worked very hard on this and just informed me yesterday that our victim received $48,000 back of the $205,000 that he lost. So it's a quarter, but he was very happy with that. That is not the rule. That is definitely the exception. So moving on to lighter news, let's talk about some community relations stuff. Officer Kenny handled the Master of Ceremonies duties for the annual Sim Haven Olympics with our partners at the Milford Community Fire Department. Officers Chastain and Dennis conducted a safety talk with the kids at Jelly Bean Junction. Squad 2 assisted some Mound Avenue residents who felt that their energy should have been back on sooner than it was. They reached out to Duke and found that Duke was on top of it, and it was in process. Several members of the department attended the Milford Miami Township Chamber's quarterly luncheon that was graciously hosted by our friends at Station 71. I met with a young Boy Scout about his proposed Eagle Scout project that turned out to be outstanding. He replaced 2 of the picnic tables at Simvilla Park. Sergeant Kibbe was the guest speaker at the Miami Woods Men's Group meeting. Sergeant Kibbe also assisted the Civil Air Patrol with using our obstacle course, and Officer Eschman continued her senior visits. Couple of reminders, again, we'll be participating with the annual Trunk or Treat at RDI. That's on Friday, October 25th from 6 to 8 in the Milford Shopping Center. As Mr. Jones mentioned, our Halloween Trick or Treat is Thursday, October 31st from 6 to 8, and a newly rebranded program that we've done one year ago, now called No Tricks, Just Treats. Credit to Shannon Roll for coming up with a unique name for our program that was previously called Candy with the Cops, where we will deliver candy to any of our residents that cannot get out for trick-or-treat on October 31st. For more information on that, just check out our Facebook page and send us a message through there, also on Instagram, or just give us a call and we'll get you on the list.
All right,
Thank you very much.
Chief. Thank you, Chief. That takes us to Chief Baird and Fire and EMS.
Good evening. We've been quite busy recently. We've been on a couple of structure fires in other communities over the past week. We're glad to be able to lend assistance. Even more glad that it didn't happen in our community, but your thoughts go out to those families that were affected by that. Just one thing I wanted to bring up, our car seat technicians are going to be doing a car seat install and child safety seat checkup this Sunday, October 20th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the fire station on US 50 at Milford Parkway. I would assume that's going to be a drive-through where they open up a bay and just have people come in, check car seats. There are a limited number of new car seats available, not a lot, but if they come across one that needs to be replaced versus trying to reinstall or whatever, I'm sure that they'll act appropriately on that. We were fortunate to pick up a number of additional seats from Hamilton Township, Warren County recently, and we have those available to install. So other than that, it's one of those reports we have a lot going on, but really nothing to talk about. So I appreciate your time. Do you have any questions for the department?
Not that Chief Nickel needs any accolades, but I think you sold him short. He did one heck of a job on that fire in Terrace Park the other day. I know from many accounts that he was Johnny on the spot and really exemplified, I believe, the training and everything else that I know you expect and that we have come to understand through this department. So kudos to
Appreciate that. I'll extend that back to DC Nickel. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. That takes us to council comments.
The Climate Action Steering Committee met earlier this month, and they've realized that there's been some pushback to the original name. So they've decided that we're going to change it to the Milford Community Sustainability Commission, which will require altering the ordinance.
Okay.
So we can do that at the next meeting. We also realized that Ella, the intern who worked on that program so diligently, did not present that to council. So we would like to ask her to see if she could do that. We thought maybe waiting till January for the new city manager.
Okay.
So we could put that on the calendar.
Okay.
And as president of the Business Association, I met with acting city manager, Shannon Rolls. Who else was there? Why am I drawing a blank? Janet Henderson from One Main Gallery. We would like to expand our advertising for the holiday season and hometown holidays. Traditionally, we've done a lead up to the hometown holiday weekend and a little bit through December.
Mm-hmm.
We feel like there's so much going on in Milford with great restaurants, great shopping. We'd like to increase that advertising and run it from the Monday before Thanksgiving through Christmas Eve. So we asked the city if they would be a more significant sponsor. And with that, you would get an audio ID with a minimum of 45 30-second commercials on Warm 98. Featured as one of our sponsors on our website, inclusion on the HMA Facebook post and our social media, and any print media that we would do, we would put the city's logo. And just, let's see if I can find that on here. Warm 98 has over 650,000 listeners. They dedicate their whole station to Christmas from then, which is an increase of 130% of their average listening. So the investment that we asked for from the city was $5,000. Traditionally, it's been $1,800, and we talked about it. We just wanted to ask if council was agreeable to that.
I'm fine with that.
I don't know what bucket that would come out of
Yeah,
from a
what-
budgetary
Yeah,
standpoint.
we have that. Well, there used to be a fund for sponsorships.
Well, quite honest with you, that would have been something that didn't even need to come to council.
Right, it's
The
less than
city
that,
manager
yeah.
could have
Approved it.
just approved that, shared with us
Right.
his thoughts.
It's under the threshold.
But it's under the threshold in discretion. So, I mean, I'll actually would like to defer it if city manager has the funds and, you know, and I would like to defer that to him and use your discretion.
Yeah, I appreciate that,
Yeah.
Ralph, and we clearly recognize we could have done it. We
Yeah.
were doing it more as a courtesy to
Sure.
council, just asking for your support.
Yeah.
We think it's a good idea. The committee thought it was a good idea, or the folks that were present, and we just thought we would come in and just say, hey, are you supportive of it as well? So,
Is there any other additional funding, anyone else increasing, any of the businesses? Because they're all gonna benefit from this too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I assume there's gotta be a cost, just not our increase.
Oh, correct.
Yeah, so, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I mean. It's
No,
not,
we-
it's not like we're sharing, you know, for just these businesses.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Lovins has stepped up, Kirk
Yeah.
has stepped up, yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah,
It's always
definitely
a-
supportive as long as, you know,
There's
at your
money in the
discretion,
pot.
definitely.
Yeah.
we'll make sure to finance that we can make that happen.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
well, thank you. Any other council comments? I'd like to make one comment. There is currently a T-shirt fundraiser going on for the people in Western Appalachia. After all the flooding, a lot of the rural fire departments were kind of washed away. They watched their fire trucks floating down the rivers. So they were selling T-shirts through the Milford Community Firemen's Club to support those firefighters in those rural departments. So if you're able to make a donation, you can go through the Milford Fire Department website. I think it's also been shared on the city website and the Chamber of Commerce website. So you can actually purchase a T-shirt, or you can just make a donation. So thank you for that. All right, that takes us then to new businesses. Mr. Pacheco, ordinances and resolutions.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance number 24-310, an ordinance authorizing an agreement with Neighbor Paving for asphalt patch repair of certain portions of Glendale Milford Road and State Route 126. Now therefore be ordained by the Council of the City of Milford, Ohio. Section 1, the Council of the City of Milford hereby authorizes the acting interim city manager to enter into and execute an agreement with Neighbor Paving for asphalt patch repair of certain portions of Glendale Milford Road, State Route 126 for an amount not to exceed $13,513.98. The terms and conditions of this agreement are fully incorporated herein in their entirety, as if fully written herein pursuant to and in accordance with Section 12.03 of the Milford City Charter. Section 2, under and in accordance with Sections 12.05 and 12.07 of the Milford City Charter, this ordinance shall become effective immediately upon its passage by City Council.
Motion to suspend the rules and read by title only?
Second.
Mr. Velardo?
Yes.
Ms. Evans?
Yes.
Ms. Chamberlain?
Yes.
Mr. Thompson?
Yes.
Mr. Parrish?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Ordinance number 24-310, an ordinance authorizing an agreement with Neighbor Paving for asphalt patch repair of certain portions of Glendale Milford Road, State Route 126.
Motion to adopt?
Second.
Mr. Velardo?
Yes.
Ms. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Parrish?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Mr. Thompson?
Yes.
Ms. Chamberlain?
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance number 24-311, an ordinance authorizing an agreement with Georgetown Marble and Granite Company to purchase a new columbarium for Green Lawn Cemetery. Now therefore be it ordained by the Council of the City of Milford, Ohio, Section 1. The Council of the City of Milford hereby authorizes the acting interim city manager to enter into and execute an agreement with Georgetown Marble and Granite Company to purchase a new columbarium for Green Lawn Cemetery for an amount not to exceed $13,950. The terms and conditions of this agreement are fully incorporated herein in their entirety as if fully rewritten herein pursuant to and in accordance with Section 12.03 of the Milford City Charter. Section 2. Under and in accordance with Sections 12.05 and 12.07 of the Milford City Charter, this ordinance shall become effective immediately upon its passage by City Council.
Motion to suspend the rules and read by title only.
Second?
Mr. Parrish?
Yes.
Ms. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Velardo?
Yes.
Ms. Chamberlain?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Mr. Thompson?
Yes.
Ordinance number 24-311, an ordinance authorizing an agreement with Georgetown Marble and Granite Company to purchase a new columbarium for Green Lawn Cemetery.
Motion to adopt.
Second?
Second?
Ms. Chamberlain?
Yes.
Mr. Thompson?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Mr. Velardo?
Yes.
Mr. Parrish?
Yes.
Ms. Evans?
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you. With no other business, I don't believe, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Ms. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Parrish?
Yes.
Mr. Velardo?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Mr. Thompson?
Yes.
Ms. Chamberlain?
Yes.
All right, thank you all for coming.